the most critically endangered monkeys in the world. This is some serious hiking here. Amazing creatures. And above, trees, all this jungle vegetation here. Look at this view. The rain is getting heavier and heavier. We need to get to this campsite. The jungle has broken all of my electronics. I have to say, I'm feeling like absolute shit. The worst headache of my life. I gotta soldier on. Sumatra, Indonesia's third largest island, is a land of endless jungle, unique wildlife and treacherous terrain. Today I'll take you on one of my wildest adventures yet. I flew from Jakarta to the city of Medan in North Sumatra, and from there I traveled to the jungle village of Bukit Lawang. In the village of Bukit Lawang I hired a local guide and we went on a 2-day rainforest trek. After seeing some critically endangered orangutans, we were caught in a rainstorm. We had to hike for about 2 hours through extremely dangerous terrain to get to our campsite. We slept in a jungle hut between bugs and mosquitoes. The next morning I felt extremely sick and I thought that I wouldn't make it out of that jungle. But let's start at the beginning. Our journey commences at Jakarta International Airport. Good morning guys, we are here at Jakarta Airport, the domestic terminal, and now we're gonna fly to Sumatra. So let's go. Welcome to Medan, North Sumatra. This is a place where not too many foreigners come, so let's see what awaits us here. Now we gotta go get our luggage and then take some kind of train to the city center. Thank you. Good morning guys, we are here in Medan on the island of Sumatra, and now it's time to head into the jungle. So let's go. From the city of Medan I took a shared taxi to the village of Bukit Lawang in the middle of the Sumatran jungle. The journey took us about 4 hours. Welcome to Bukit Lawang. This is a village in the middle of the Sumatran jungle, and it is famous for two things. Number one, palm oil extraction. This is one of the most important centers of palm oil extraction in Indonesia. And number two, orangutans. So you might know that orangutans are among the most critically endangered monkeys in the world, and there are only two places where they still exist. Number one, Sumatra. Number two, Borneo. So this town right here, Bukit Lawang, is one of the gateways to the jungle where the orangutans live. And tomorrow we're gonna start a 2-day jungle trek and hopefully find some orangutans here. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty epic. But today I'm just gonna have a little wander around this town and see what's happening here. But first, let me show you my little bungalow here because it's pretty nice. So we are on the balcony now, and here you got the view of the little village. So there's actually a river and kids playing in the river. We're gonna go there in a minute. But yeah, this is the balcony. Let's go in. Yeah, this is my little bungalow here, and this place is called Junior Guest House, and they actually have rooms for about $10 a night, but I got this $25 bungalow here because tomorrow I'm gonna sleep in the jungle, so I figured why not have a little bit of comfort before heading into the jungle. But yeah, this is the guest house that I'm staying at. Now let's go check out this little Sumatran jungle town here. Literally 10 minutes after checking into the hotel, this happened. Now you might think that this was all show, but it wasn't. The lady at the reception told me that this happens sometimes, but very rarely. As such, I was extremely lucky to see an orangutan within 10 minutes of arriving in Bukit Lawang. So guys, I just saw an orangutan in my guest house here. A critically endangered monkey that only exists in 2 islands in the world. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed. And I thought we would have to do 8 hours of trekking to see them, but now we've seen them pretty much right after getting here. After this first very unexpected orangutan encounter, I went to check out the village of Bukit Lawang. Here we have like the main pedestrian zone, if you can call it that. There's an image of John Lennon next to a monkey. It's a small jungle community with a few restaurants and guest houses. The whole place is still very rudimentary and people live off agriculture or tourism. It's pristine, beautiful and raw. Good morning guys, it's day 2 here in Bukit Lawang, and today we're gonna go trekking into the jungle. So in about 15 minutes we'll meet our guide and then we'll start our jungle expedition. We're gonna hike for about 7 to 8 hours and hopefully along the way see some more orangutans. Now I was extremely lucky to see an orangutan yesterday just casually walking across my guest house here. And yeah, that doesn't happen very often because obviously they live much further away in the jungle, not in the village. They are not known to come to the village very often. It does happen from time to time, the receptionist told me, but not that often. So I guess we'll find out together how good this jungle expedition will be. I have to say I'm really looking forward to it. This is an absolutely incredible location. I'm not sure I've ever been in a jungle community this remote and this beautiful. And yeah, I'm really buzzing to see this Sumatran jungle and yeah, just have a look at some very interesting animals. So yeah, let's head into the jungle. Before we start our hike, let me introduce you to the team. This is Helmi. He's a Bukit Lawang native and he's gonna be our guide for today. He's been doing these hikes for over 7 years and he knows his way around the jungle. Then we have Antu, his assistant. And finally we have Ibnu, a fellow hiker from Batam, Indonesia. He was much better prepared than I was and that will become important later. Together we will take on the Sumatran jungle. Let's see how that goes. So it's 2 hikers and 2 guides and I think this will be a lot of fun here. So yeah, let's see what awaits us in the Sumatran jungle. The first part of the hike was uphill, but we soon got to see a rare monkey species. This is a Thomas leaf monkey or langur. They are only found here in Sumatra and they spend most of their time chilling in trees. We continued and were now on the outskirts of Gunung Nusa National Park. We were shown how local farmers cut rubber from the trees here and then we saw our first orangutan for the day. Now earlier in this video I referred to orangutans as monkeys, but that is not entirely correct. Orangutans are actually primates. They are actually very close to us humans and they mostly live in the trees. Some of them live over 50 years and they are today critically endangered. The first reason why they are so critically endangered is that they were hunted for a long time. Another reason is that the palm oil industry has cut down a lot of their trees. This is a very controversial topic in Indonesia because it is one of the most important industries on the islands. I have to say this was a pretty excellent start to my time here in Bukit Lawang. I saw an orangutan yesterday at the hotel and now we saw one just within 15-20 minutes of starting our trek here. And yeah, I mean this bodes very well. Also the weather is absolutely perfect. It is very hot, very sweaty, but very sunny, and yesterday it was raining like hell and it might rain later today. But yeah, I think that this has been pretty much the perfect start to our little Sumatran adventure here. It is very difficult to film the orangutans since they are always so high up in the trees. So they basically climb around the top of the trees here. So yeah, it's very difficult to get them on camera, but they just look so majestic when they are, you know, climbing and eating and stuff. Amazing creatures. After this orangutan encounter, we hiked deeper and deeper into Gunung Lusa National Park. The terrain was becoming more and more challenging. We have been trekking for a few hours now, and yeah, this is an absolutely amazing experience. Going through the jungle here, seeing all these animals, butterflies. There was actually a butterfly just around the corner. You know, we are climbing below and above trees, and all this jungle vegetation here. I mean, this is real Indiana Jones territory. I absolutely love it. Okay. We stopped every once in a while to eat some fruit, and we also saw another orangutan. We then ascended one of the highest mountains in this region. It was steep and difficult, but on the top we got some lunch made by Helmi's wife. By now everybody was getting a bit tired. So yeah, when you come to the Sumatran jungle, don't just expect a little walk. This is some serious hiking here, but it is very rewarding. I mean, we haven't seen any animals for hours, but still the jungle is so beautiful. And yeah, it's physically very challenging, but also very, very nice. And I'm absolutely loving it so far. After this amazing lunch, we continued our trek. The weather was starting to change suddenly. And by suddenly, I mean suddenly. Alright guys, we just finished our lunch, and as you can see, I've put on my raincoat because it is gonna rain pretty soon. And we have another 2 hours of trekking to do before getting to the campsite. So I think those 2 hours might become interesting. But yeah, let's see. Did you just hear that? That was thunder and also lightning. So yeah, it will start pouring down sooner rather than later. And I think this trek will become even more challenging. But yeah, looking forward to it. The rainstorm came so quickly that even the guides were surprised. And I could see that they were getting a bit nervous. We now had to up the pace. We have definitely upped the pace a little bit because we need to get to this campsite. The rain now isn't that strong yet, but it will get stronger and stronger. And yesterday it was just pouring like hell in the evening. And you know, it's still afternoon, but I can feel the rain getting stronger every minute. So that's why we are walking quite fast now. And that obviously is more dangerous. So we have to be very careful not to fall down and break our legs here. Look at this view. Unfortunately, we have no time to stop. But yeah, that was an incredible view there. But the rain is getting heavier and heavier. So, oh, your raincoat. So yeah, time to put on the raincoats for those who haven't done it yet. Mr. Ibno has to put on his raincoat. Yeah. Now we are losing valuable time. You should have put it on during lunch. This rain made the trekking even more challenging, and we had to be extremely careful not to fall down. It was now becoming a race against time. It took us about 90 minutes to reach our campsite, and we made it at around 3:30 p.m. You can see here they built these very rudimentary huts with this wood here, and this, whatever this is, and then the roof. And inside we got some tents. I mean, yeah, this is not 5-star accommodation because we are in the jungle right here. So what do you expect? Situation update, guys. My phone isn't working. It is completely dead and it isn't a battery. So I think the jungle has just killed my phone. And worse, my camera isn't working either. I mean, it is working, but it doesn't show me the pictures that I shot. You can see here, trying to push the button and nothing happens. The jungle has just killed my phone and my camera. I really hope that I can save my camera. The phone isn't that important, you know, I got a backup phone, but the camera is important, and I really hope that I can save the footage from the SD card, but I think that should be okay. So if you are even watching this video, that means that I found a way to rescue my footage. But yeah, this has been a rough day in the Sumatran jungle here. The guides prepared an amazing dinner that night. Even though my camera wasn't working properly, I managed to record most of what happened that night.
Welcome to jungle trek, trek. Yeah.
We spent the rest of the night singing songs.
Orangutan, hey, jungle trek, in Bukit Lawang. See the monkey, see the bird, Si orangutan, hey hey, jungle trek, jungle trek in Bukit Lawang.
Doing magic tricks and playing cards. So now you can show us your magic trick here. So
Yeah.
there you can see there's a nut.
I don't
There's
know.
a nut in a spoon made out of matches. And according to this magician here, you can just move 2 matches
Yeah,
and then the nut will be outside of the spoon.
that's true.
So yeah, now you can show us how this magic
Okay.
works.
Focus ya. Remove this one. Become here or here. You can choose. Maybe right, yeah, right side here. And then.
Oh!
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
That is some serious magic.
Thank you.
Real
Bravo.
magician there. Next career, magician.
Next Korea magician.
Even though I started to have light stomach pain that night, I slept relatively well in this rudimentary jungle hut. The next morning, however, was a different story. Alright guys, it's now the next morning here in the jungle, and I have to say I'm feeling like absolute shit. I don't know what it is, but I've never felt this bad. I actually had to get up a few times because I had such a headache lying in this jungle hut there. So yeah, I'm really not sure how it's gonna continue, because today we got another like 3 or 4 hours of hiking and then a boat ride. Guys, I'm lying here on the floor of the jungle and I'm feeling so sick. I have no idea what it is, but I don't know, my stomach hurts, my head is spinning, and yeah, I really don't know how I'm gonna get out of here. Now we got a trek for at least 1.5 to 2 hours to get to some kind of boat, and that's kind of the only way out of here, so I guess I will have to soldier through. But I have never felt this bad after sleeping somewhere in a tent or something. I mean, it's absolute hell. I was in absolutely no condition to hike, but there was no alternative. Being sick in your hotel somewhere in a city is one thing, and being sick in the jungles of Sumatra is something else. As such, the next 2 hours were absolute agony. Situation update. We are now hiking to some kind of boating station, and that will take around 2 hours. And then when we get to that boating station, we will take a boat back to Bukit Lawang. I woke up with the worst headache of my life, and now I just feel super weak and tired and slow. But yeah, we gotta soldier on. Oh my god, we have made it to some kind of boating station. And this doesn't look really like boats. Looks more like tires. Oh man, this is not gonna be fun. And I'm already dead. Alright guys, so I got the most terrible headache that I've had in my life so far. I already threw up a few times here. My stomach is now a bit better, but it wasn't great either. Basically, I was super sick the whole day, and now we trekked for 2 hours. And basically the guy told us that there would be some kind of boat. Well, this is the boat. Now we gotta do half an hour on these tires and let the current take us back to Bukit Lawang. I mean, if I don't throw up on this, I'm gonna be very, very surprised. The good thing is that my guest house is right on the river, so they're just gonna drop me there. And man, this hike, I mean, I really don't have the words yet. I will do a proper outro and then I will explain what this hike is all about. But what I can tell you so far, Sumatra, man, that is an adventurous place. Do not come here if you are not ready for a proper adventure. How's it going there?
This is the river taxi.
That is the jungle taxi here. Our driver here, he's paddling with a stick, and then we're letting the current take us back to the village. Oh, the water is cold! Oh my word, the water is cold! Oh, this water is so cold! And I would prefer... Oh guys, you are crazy guys, crazy! Woo. You guys, you are so crazy in this jungle here.
Wow.
I mean, my shirt has been wet pretty much for the last 2 days, so this doesn't make a big difference. But these guys here, you sir are crazy. You drive like a hooligan. Oh my word. I just thought we would have a nice boat journey back. Well, not really.
There we go.
And we go again. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Jungle trek.
Jungle trek.
Jungle trek in Bukit Lawang. See the monkey, see the bird.
This is definitely the craziest taxi ride I've had in the last few weeks. And that after trekking for 2 days through the jungle, getting super sick, throwing up, and now here on this river, going back to the hotel. I mean, I have to say, these 2 last days haven't been entirely uneventful. It's so cold. I mean, this is supposed to be a jungle river. Why is this water so cold? I mean, I don't understand it. Why Indonesia doesn't have this cold weather? Why is this water so cold?
Because it's from the mountain.
Yeah, I think so. You're really enjoying this there. Back there. Passengers in economy class. Too much current. Alright guys, I am finally out of the jungle. I made it out of there alive. And I'm actually now in a city on a different island in Indonesia. I left Sumatra this morning. And yeah, I'm not gonna tell you where yet. You'll see that in an upcoming video. But yeah, I'm gonna give you a little update on what happened after this jungle taxi, this boat ride, because I didn't continue filming after that. I was feeling so sick. And yeah, I'm just gonna tell you what happened, and then I'll also share my final thoughts on this hike, and then maybe you'll have a better understanding of what it's like to go trekking in Sumatra. Okay, so after taking this jungle taxi boat made out of tires, whatever you want to call it, I went back to my guest house in the village of Bukit Lawang and just spent the rest of the day there, you know, taking showers and lying on my bed, taking some medicine and just trying to get better. But yeah, it didn't really work. I was sick the whole day. I felt really bad, and honestly speaking, I haven't felt this bad in many years. You know, I'm usually not very prone to getting sick while I travel. I haven't had serious food poisoning at any point during my travels. And yeah, I'm usually not really a person affected by this kind of stuff. But it happened to me in the jungle in Sumatra. And the jungle in Sumatra is pretty much the worst place in the world to get sick. And yeah, so then the next morning I had a shared taxi back to Medan, the main city in Sumatra, and my idea was the following. I had booked 2 days in Medan, 1 day to recover, because obviously I thought that I might need 1 day to recover from just the general fatigue from the hike, but I had booked 2 days because basically I wanted to recover on the first day, and then on the second day I wanted to film a video in Medan and show you the city of Medan. Unfortunately, these 2 days I was still really sick, and basically until yesterday night. So yesterday night was my last day in Medan, and yeah, so I didn't film anything in Medan. All that I did was lie in my bed in the hotel, and I went to a mall and bought a new cell phone, because obviously my cell phone didn't survive. Luckily, by the end of the second day in Medan, I was really feeling a lot better, and I knew that now it's, you know, I'm on the way up. And then the next day, which is actually today, I took a plane at 6 a.m. and flew from Medan to the city where I am now. So yeah, now the conclusions on this hike. Because you might be wondering, well, you got super sick on this hike. Would you recommend doing this to see orangutans? And I would still say yes, absolutely yes. Because there are lots of people who do this and who don't get sick. So as I said, I don't have a clear answer on why I got sick. It's a combination of factors. But then the hike, especially the first day, was absolutely incredible. It's one of the best hikes that I've ever done. And seeing these orangutans some of the most majestic creatures that you can see on this earth in the wild while doing their thing. It's just something you will not forget, and it's something that's hard to describe. And yeah, it was absolutely worth it. Also, the price for the hike was about 90 USD for 2 days, and that again, it includes the permit, and the permit itself is like 50 USD, so that's the biggest part of the price. And it was just, you know, it was an amazing experience, and I would definitely recommend it. Also, I would recommend the company that I used because they were amazing. They were very funny, you know, there was a lot of banter, there was a lot of just jokes going around. They were very young as well, but quite experienced. I mean, the guide, he had 6 or 7 years of experience. And you know, when things went wrong, when I was so sick, the guide, he really adjusted the pace, and he also kind of took notice of the fact that I really wasn't interested in seeing animals anymore. I just wanted to get back to the village as quickly as possible. And he really made sure that we would get there as quickly as possible, you know, as quickly as is feasible when you have to go from one place in the jungle to the next one. So yeah, the guide was amazing, and I will put all the details of the company in the description, so you can contact them via WhatsApp, you can contact them via TripAdvisor, or I think Facebook as well. So yeah, that is the company. I would definitely recommend them, and I would recommend doing this hike. Just be ready. That's what I'm gonna say. Do not expect this to be like just a little walk in the forest. This is proper, difficult, challenging, dangerous jungle hiking. This is not just going for a 2 or 3 kilometer hike in your local national park. No, this is serious adventurizing, and that's why I'm saying, you know, be ready, be prepared, and know what you're getting into. But when you go there with the right mindset and, you know, just the right preparation, knowing what you're doing, then this hike is just incredible. And also, you might be a lot luckier. You might not have as much rain, and then the hike will be even better. And also, you might see more orangutans and monkeys than we did. So we saw 3 orangutans on the first day, but basically we saw those 3 within 2 hours of hiking. After that, we didn't see any more, and on the second day we saw none at all. We saw a few more monkeys on the second day and on the first day, but yeah, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna see 10 orangutans. I mean, 10 is probably impossible. You might see 5, which is lucky, but you might also only see 1 or maybe 0. But even, you know, if you don't see them, it's still, the hike is amazing. So yeah, I would recommend it. Just know what you're getting into. So yeah, I think now it's time to round up this video. I've been rambling on a bit here, but yeah, I wanted to give you guys the proper idea of what happened. You know, I wanted to include this second day. As I said in the video, I wasn't sure whether I should include it, but then I decided that it would be unfair to you guys, and just in general, it wouldn't be a proper, authentic video if I just say all the good parts. It was an amazing experience, but I almost died on the second day, and I think that this channel is about real, proper adventure traveling, and this is what happens when you go on these adventures. It can happen to anybody. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.